Now.
Oh, really?
Okay. Welcome to episode 2 of Harry and Andrew Have Nothing Better to Do.
Oh, you remember the title? That's good.
That's pretty simple when you really get down to it. It's been a couple weeks since our last one, but we've seen plenty of movies. We're going to try a different format today. Go down to 2 movies that we talk about, keep the episode a little bit shorter, and then we will do almost like a lightning round of the films that we watched that weren't the 2 films, because in a 2-week span, of course, we saw way more than 2 films.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing else to do other than sit at home and watch movies. So,
I don't think that'd be any different if lockdown wasn't happening, but
not much different. Maybe a little bit. Maybe I'd seen 2 less movies than I did. Maybe. I don't really go outside very much. Okay. So I didn't come up with quiz questions. I didn't think about that. I don't know. Well, we'll be fine. Maybe we'll just ask random questions if you remember about the 2 shitty films that we're going to talk about today.
Oh boy, do we have some real good ones for you too?
Yeah, and I have kind of a surprise idea. For each one of these films that we're going to switch back and forth. I'll do one, he'll do the other, and the one person kind of explains it. The one host will explain it and talk about why we liked it or disliked it, and the other person has to try to convincingly say why it was a good movie or a bad movie. The opposite of what the original person feels like. So the 2 films we're talking today are what?
Book of Shadows, The Blair Witch Part 2.
Backwards.
Yeah, they released it like that. And what's the other one?
House of the Dead.
Yeah, House of the Dead. Uwe Boll's House of the Dead.
Uwe.
Yes.
Let's see. Which one do I want to take so I don't have to try and play it off like that the other one is good? I'll go ahead and start off with Book of Shadows.
Okay.
This movie is something else, let me tell you. Let's just say, to sum it up really perfectly, just to start, is that there are 5 time jumps in the first 7 minutes. Yeah. I know that we talked about it when we watched it. Like 5 time jumps. Do you remember what it was? What the actual jumps were?
Yes. Okay. So movie opens up. Okay. So this is the sequel to the Blair Witch Project. So movie opens up in year 2000, explaining kind of after the movie it came out in basically like a mockumentary, or it's supposed to be a real documentary, but it's a movie, obviously. So they're showing all the effects of what the movie had on the townspeople. Then it jumps back to a year earlier with the main protagonist in a mental hospital. Then it goes to autumn of 1999. Then it goes to Monday, November 15th of 99. And then it goes back to Friday, November 12th of 99.
What was the point of the shot where he's like selling the shirts and shit?
Just to show... I don't even know if that's supposed to take place in the universe of the movie.
It's because I feel like maybe I'm wrong here, but it felt like that was the most present time.
Yes.
Based off of what they were saying on the thing. So that means at the end of the movie, which we'll get to, that he's no longer
in prison.
In prison?
Right. And his hair doesn't match any of it because it goes from shaven to full, like in between all these time jumps.
So anyway, the whole premise is that the first movie was definitely not real, and it's this meta. Breaking the fourth wall shit where they are playing it off like they know that it was a movie. The first one was a movie. It affected this town that it takes place in, right? And there's a bunch of people there selling, memorabilia for the witch. And this guy's giving tours of the woods.
It's almost like a tongue-in-cheek. It feels like the movie recognizes that it's almost like a sheer cash grab on capitalizing on the success of the previous movie in a way,
which is fine. if it was any
if
good.
It was self-aware.
Yeah. Like if it was actually entertaining, which it's not.
No.
It's just bad. So basic breakdown. They go out there. There's also another touring group. They're apparently at odds. Like we don't know why, but they are.
Well, just a quick setup. I think we're missing, or maybe people would not understand.
So they jump. They bring in tourists.
Right. So Jeffrey Donovan, who's the main character, he basically hosts Blair Witch tours of the Blackwoods where's this, in Maryland? Either Black Hills in Maryland, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so basically he brings people, the fanboys of the movie, or people doing research or whatever, people who are Wiccans. They're like, here, I'll show you all the spots in the movie. I'll show you Coffin Rock. I'll show you the house. I'll show you the different things that were in the movie that were filmed. And as they're going on this tour, spooky, weird things start happening.
Tree.
Right, there's a tree in the middle of the house that
grew in the middle of the
was
house.
never there before.
Because it's all broken down, right? It's just the foundation.
Right, so the house doesn't exist anymore from the first movie. So, okay, cast of characters. Sorry, real quick. So we got Jeffrey Donovan, main character, is the tour guide. Then you've got a Wiccan who's going along because she wants to get in touch with the Blair Witch. You've got a couple, a man and a woman, who are researchers on the Blair Witch. They're doing their thesis, I guess.
I think it was their thesis.
Yeah. And then
together, they're a couple.
Right. And then there's a goth chick who lives in Maryland. Lives in the Black. I don't know. Anyway, she comes with them because it seems like
Jeffrey Donovan
knows her.
Says name Jeffrey Donovan.
Yeah, well, all the characters are named after their actors because I think they're
all have the same names.
Trying to do the whole thing that the first Blair Witch did. It's like it's real or whatever,
but
it's not.
He's the only one that I think lives in that town.
Yes,
everybody else is from.
So anyway, so you got 5 characters. Is that right? 2 guys, 3 girls. Yeah, that's right.
It felt like more, but I guess it wasn't.
At least main characters, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, so they go on the tour. Things start happening, weird stuff starts happening, and then they're trying to trace the footsteps of how they lost all their camera gear and all their thesis work because they wake up after the initial group outing and everything's gone, everything's destroyed, and so they go back to Jeffrey Donovan's lair or house, and it's all a rape factory.
Rape factory. I'd like to call it right now because I mean that place is.
Dude, I think that's one of the albums that one of the bands in the movie.
Rape Factory. It's raping my ears right now.
Oh my God, that soundtrack too is.
So it's like it's all like it all screams 2000 at you.
Oh yeah,
everybody's outfits, the shirts they're wearing, the goth chick is as goth as she can get.
But almost like insulting to goth people. Like it's not even like listen, goth is whatever. You can take it for a leave. It's an excuse to make fun of or rebel against your parents. But like when you think of like goth Robert Smith and The Cure, that's nothing like it. It's like I listen to Marilyn Manson and I paint my face like a clown, like a juggalo.
It looked terrible. And she starts having premonitions, visions of where the tapes disappear to, the videotapes are disappearing to before they go back to the factory. And before they go to the factory, there's it's a defunct factory. I'm sorry, it was it's cute. It was a broom factory, like a witch. Yeah, it's cute.
Somebody sold it to Jeffrey Donovan for $1.
Yeah, for $1. This gigantic fucking place.
Turn of the century
that
factory.
still has electricity and stuff like that.
Right. The land would be worth more than them tearing it down.
And he's turned it into like a. I mean, I feel like Jigsaw would jizz seeing how nicely and big and still set up this place is. None of this stuff makes any sense, by the way.
Yeah,
I mean, this kid's like 22 years old and
has all this property and money. Well, they establish that he steals things and resells them on eBay.
Tons of stuff, electronics,
stereo equipment, all this stuff.
And he keeps it at that place, and he's clearly had trouble with the law, as we get from the super generic lawman that.
Sheriff Ravens.
We'll get into the acting here soon. But ultimately, they run into another tour group.
Yeah.
And they're clearly at odds. And there's this really terrible scene where like all 10 of them are in the shot.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all like, clearly it's been rehearsed that this person steps forward and says something and then gets pushed back. And then this person does something.
Well, it's interesting too because like in the first movie, almost all the dialogue was improvised because they didn't have money. And in this movie, even though they had $11 million for a budget, it seems like was 15 million. Was it more? Oh, either way,
15 or 20 million.
All the dialogue feels like it's improvised, but it's not good. Yeah. It's worse.
The budget's insane because it was. Man, I thought it was a lot. I thought it was like 30 million. It was a lot.
Maybe it was more.
And the original, as we all, most people will know, $60,000 for the budget of the first one.
Yeah.
And
insane profit.
Yeah.
I think worldwide.
$250 million.
Yeah.
$260 million. Right. And you just sit there and you watch this Book of Shadows.
Oh no, you're right. 15 million. Jeez.
Yeah. It's 15.
Yeah.
Yeah. They tripled their budget.
Sure.
But I mean, that was just an automatic. You're like a year after coming off of the original one, and of course you're going to make your money back. Of course you are. Right. So from the studio standpoint, it's not a risk whatsoever. But this essentially just killed it right off the bat. I mean, you weren't going any further than this because it's all extremely lackluster, makes no sense. The editing is atrocious.
I think this is the biggest problem in the movie. It's just confusing and it makes no sense, and it's aggravating because you don't understand what's going on.
Well, it just felt like they didn't know what they were doing.
Right.
So they're just like, well, we got to make this some sort of generic horror twist thing towards the end, where the first one isn't generic at all. There's nothing about it that was really had been done before, and that's why it's enjoyable. And
right, because you got the found footage, and then you've got people that are not actors. Well, from the marketing of the movie, that they're real people, and it's this horror movie where you could either cite it as it is supernatural, or it's the two guys leading a girl in the woods to murder her, which is even more interesting, I think.
And tense.
Yeah,
this was not tense.
No, and they abandoned the found footage completely. They didn't even go that route.
Well, or the girl's premonitions.
No, that means nothing.
Doesn't end up meaning a single thing.
No.
So she had some sort of power, which you might attribute to being emo.
Yeah.
I mean, is that what we're going for? She has goth powers.
Yeah.
The other one's a Wiccan who wants to be mentored by the witch that the Blair Witch Project is based off of, which they've established is a fucking movie. And isn't real, by the way.
But the myth of the person is real. There was a person that existed in this world that did happen.
But the Wiccan, or the goth chick, you don't end up having. Nothing becomes of that. She just can see shit, and I mean it's blatant. She knows where stuff is,
which makes no sense because you think the Wiccan would have those powers versus the goth person, but they're like, shit. We wrote one character. Well, we need to have two more characters. We need to have two characters. So
and we paid for all this makeup and
and this trench coat and these boots,
slathered it on, man. And
oof, yikes!
It was rough. That makeup is awful.
Yeah, that's
and the acting is a joke.
Yeah,
it's
the League of Extraordinary Bad Actors.
Yeah, let's play the game of who's the worst actor, right?
Right.
I think we kind of came to a consensus between the two of us which one it was.
Mm-hmm.
It being the other guy in the party. I do not remember his name. Steven. He has some of the worst delivery I've ever seen in a movie.
It's sad to say that Jeffrey Donovan, who you would recognize from Burn Notice and Sicario and a few other war movies, he's not amazing or anything. I mean, he's a pretty run-of-the-mill actor. He's kind of that suave douchebag, whatever. But in this movie, his character is still unlikable, but he's the best actor, which is
really
weird.
Sad.
Yeah, it's very sad. Yeah.
And the police chief or whoever the hell he
clearly
is,
not an
sheriff.
Actor. He was
like a friend of the director
or
like that.
editor, producer, whatever, and they're just like, well, he's going to contribute to the movie, so we got to throw him in there.
And what accent was that?
It was like a Kentucky southern accent, even though we're in Maryland, which is in the north. So
and then he goes like this: "It's a southern." He'd take these long pauses between words and within words. And you're like, are you just trying to fill time? Are we supposed to fill up a 90-minute? I don't understand what's happening.
It was longer than 90 minutes, wasn't it? It felt like it was 2 hours. It probably wasn't.
I think it was 90 minutes.
Oh, God.
How about this? I wrote this down specifically while we were watching it. Need to re-digitize the tapes. Harry, we need to re-digitize the tapes.
What does that even mean?
Because, okay, like I said, I do think it could technically mean something.
Okay.
If they had taken regular tape and turned it into digital,
sure,
that something happened during the conversion process.
Corrupted the footage, so they got to redo it.
But I think you're like watching it, and the things that they see on there are like, it's not the screen getting zigzaggy or anything like that. There's like things appearing on the screen or whatever, and you're just like, no, that's not that's not a conversion issue. That it's like, but it just feels so generic. Like
it's like hacker talk from the early 2000s. Yeah, enhance.
I had a few questions post the ending.
Let's just go ahead and spoil it because this movie's
it's
garbage.
Terrible. There's no real spoil. What the hell was it?
So the yeah, right.
I
know, right. So the main cast of characters on their first tour, they all fall asleep, pass out drunk. They wake up, all their tapes are destroyed. Some of them are naked. All the thesis papers are ripped up, and they look at the footage and they find they had to play it backwards in order to find what was really going on. And turns out that they murdered the other tour group. They destroyed their tapes. They ripped up all the paper. They themselves did it. They all danced naked, right? Had an orgy together.
Oh, and the time was off.
Right. So in the tape, it's like 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. is
1
missing.
1 to 3 or 3:30
is missing. And then they play back the footage in reverse. And then it shows them all this footage. And the timestamp of the reverse footage is like
6 a.m.,
6 a.m.
5:30 a.m.
They even like
after they've woken up and they know what time it is. Because they say, oh, the time that's missing is the time that we were asleep. Because they were only asleep for 2 or 2.5 hours after getting wasted, by the way. It's just continuity issues left and right.
I don't even think the editor watched this movie. I think he just like blindly cut.
Ugh. That's some of the worst editing I've seen.
Oh, yeah.
So
the big reveals.
The
they
big
murdered
reveals.
Everybody.
They don't remember anything, and they're the ones that killed
the witch. Did put a curse on them, so they ended up killing 2 members or 1 member of the group.
2 of them, the Wiccan and
the girlfriend, the girlfriend of the thesis guy.
And it was like what they were experiencing was different than what was really happening
on the tapes.
Because on the tapes, and then you're sitting there watching and go, who the fuck is recording this shit?
Yeah, right.
I don't understand. They're like all on camera right now. Who's recording? And it just, I did not find anything redeeming in it. A couple of my questions, like, was the guy that plays the police chief able to fix his tooth with the money that he got?
One could hope.
Because he's like missing a tooth, right? Or is it like, there's one of his teeth that... one of those teeth.
You would hope. I mean, the movie was 47 million gross.
Yeah, tripled its money.
Yeah.
No stakes, no threats. Everything disappears. It just...
Yeah, there's constantly all these dream sequences that are supposed to be spooky, like jump scares, and then they're immediately, oh, it's not real.
There's no consequences.
There's
nothing that happens, so there's no build-up, because it just goes right back to... Oh, okay, well, that little child across the bridge, or whatever it was.
Ghost or whatever.
Like, I didn't see that.
I was just seeing things. I'm stressed out.
Give me a reason to believe that. Or give me, like, they're in a delusional state.
Yeah, they always think...
They're drunk, so they see something weird. No, he goes outside, and it's clear there's something across the bridge staring right at him.
Yeah, and then it disappears. It's such a crux in a lot of shitty horror movies to, like, have these dream sequences to get shock value or jump scares to put you on edge, to get you kind of like, because in most movies you need an action beat every 10 pages. Something has to happen in a script, which was like equal to 10 minutes. So every 10 minutes you have to have something happen in order to keep the audience entertained.
Well, that makes sense in a horror movie.
Sure. But if you're going to do that in this kind of movie, you have to have it build. Don't have like the first jump scare be a freaking child ghost twisting backwards and jumping and this weird thing. Like, the dog barking stuff makes sense because in the factory the guy has an alarm that makes dogs bark as a protection or security measures. People will run away if they try to like knock on his door. So when the guy hears dogs barking, he's like, "Oh, his stupid alarm!" And he opens the door, and there's actually dogs at the end of the bridge of his house. You're like, "Oh, that's kind of clever," but that has to be the first reveal. That can't be the third or fourth. It's like down. It's like the stakes are not even there anymore.
Multiple times. Or how about the main character being in a hospital or an insane asylum? They show those clips at the beginning of the movie where he's being strapped to a gurney and stuff like that and being like experimented on, I guess. And nothing ever comes of that.
Yeah, so like I guess the idea there is that they were trying to go for is like he's the unhinged character, so he...
What, if any, of the... what the drawings looked like, what the plan was when they were filming.
Oh, you mean the actual storyboards?
Like the storyboards and the script, and see just how much it changed from the original.
I'm sure it
wasn't. Because there's no way those are the original storyboards.
Probably, yeah.
Because every person would have looked at those things and gone, what the fuck are we creating? What is this? This doesn't belong here. This makes no sense. Either that or the editor looked at it and goes, fuck it.
Fuck it. I don't know. I mean,
I give shit about your
soundtrack. I can say the soundtrack's pretty dope. You've got Disposable Teens by Marilyn Manson, Lie Down by P.O.D.
Okay, no. A soundtrack is not dope just because of the names.
Yeah, Dracula by
Are you telling me that you sat there and you listened to it and you go, oh, that's a good spot for that song? It makes a lot of sense.
Other than Feel Good Hit of the Summer by Queens of the Stone Age, which just lists drugs. The whole lyrics of the song is drugs. So when they're partying, then they nicotine, Valium, Vicodin, marijuana. Yeah, that's the only time the song actually made sense. Disposable Teens is like the intro, and you could argue that's like, well, they're not teens, but you know,
they're disposable teens.
Yeah, it's bad.
We could dispose of them.
You got Nickelback. You got
oh yeah,
Godhead.
Nickelback. Oh, Godhead. We talked about that up until you mentioned it. I forgot that band existed.
Yeah, it's pretty 2000. What else is in this movie that's worth it? Like I can even talk about. We already covered editing, cinematography, music, concept. You could say that the effects are not terrible. The gore effects are okay.
Well, where the hell is $15 million going?
Yeah, where's the money going?
I for the life
marketing,
of me, I couldn't.
Well, what would you need to market other than the fact that it's
marketing itself with the name? $15 million.
It couldn't have gone to the actors because Jeffrey Donovan was not famous before this, and the other actors, they all use their real names. So none of them have done anything since.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that even $1 million was spent on the actors.
Do you think maybe they just they pocketed the money? I mean, because that's a thing. Like,
well, sure.
Adam Sandler movies have been pretty much like the newest ones have been broken down and say like Jack and Jill was like $200 million and like
to make.
Yeah, and
are you serious?
Yeah, dude.
How?
It's ridiculous. I don't know. Somebody Red Letter Media broke down the numbers and said like basically it was just this way for them to like launder money in a way. So
yeah, I mean I could say that. I mean I've worked for artists and stuff like that I felt like where is this money going? Because I would be in charge of helping with keeping track of paperwork and stuff like that. And
it wouldn't surprise
me. This doesn't really make any sense
because the location, they literally shoot in 2 locations, 2 sound stages. They don't even go outside. Like the drone footage is pretty stock.
Oh yeah.
Nothing. I mean,
okay.
There's literally 2 locations in the movie. 3 if you count the hospital or police station, whatever. It's all the same shit.
All right, take us away, Harry, on our next film, House of the Dead.
Oh boy, House of the Dead.
3 years after this film,
Uwe Boll, 2003. So if people aren't familiar, House of the Dead is a light gun arcade shooter game that you've probably recognized in your local Dave & Buster's or...
Light gun? Is that a category?
Yes, light gun. So it's like the Wii Zapper. You point the gun at the screen, you click the button, and it registers on the screen. So not a very story-driven game. It's just you shooting zombies. And if I recall, the story is basically ripped off of Resident Evil. And so imagine somebody coming to a studio and saying, I'm going to make a movie based on that game. What story will you use? Zombies. All right. Give them the money. And Sega. Sega
28 days later, man. That's really popular. So
Resident Evil's making a lot of money, and that's a video game adaptation. We'll do that. This movie feels like it's literally just an amalgamation of every video game, every zombie movie up until that point. And it's just it's reusing sets from previous movies, I think, or the Universal backlot. Oh man, it's the definition of a perfect B bad movie.
Except it's not. Well, it's not even a B movie. It's
I mean, it's got that formula. It's just okay. So here, I'm gonna defend Resident Evil for a minute, even the franchise itself. I enjoy those movies. I don't enjoy all of them. I enjoy one, 2, 3, and I think the fifth one. I think there's like 6 or 7. Anyway, those movies are not great. They're basically like like what we're talking about, early 2000s, like teen like angst, like, oh, we're going to the movies and see people Mila Jovovich naked and shoot zombies. But those movies are entertaining to me because it knows what it is. It's campy. It's over the top. It's ridiculous. The dialogue is terrible, but the action's fun, and the effects are pretty good at least for the time period. They haven't aged very well. At least the first movie,
Resident Evil.
Yeah, but those movies are entertaining to me. House of the Dead is like, wow, you had similar budgets, but this movie is a pile of garbage.
$12 million.
$12 million.
Yep.
And how much did Resident Evil have? I don't know. Probably
I'll look it up.
Probably comparable. But anyway, so House of the Dead has no story. It's an arcade shooter game. You could argue that other games have stories of that genre, but I don't even know what it is. Like 2 special agents go in to like defeat a scientist, whatever. The movie is tits, zombies, and guns. Like, that's it. I mean, am I wrong? I think that should have been the title of the movie. Guns, boobs, and zombies. Because it's a group of 30-somethings that are trying to pretend like
they're in college still.
Going to an island to go party at the hottest rave of the summer. And it's like an island in what? Baltimore? It's like...
It's where people go to cheat on their significant others, apparently.
Right.
Like, that's what they established in the first 5 minutes.
Right. So there's this rave going on this island. These bunch of these whatever, 5 or 6 people. They want to go to the rave, so they go find a boat, and it's owned by a German gun smuggler and Clint Howard.
It's 5.
Is it 5 people?
5 people.
Anyway, and so they pay him $1,000 to get him to the Isla de Muerta, Island of the Dead in Spanish if you don't speak.
And then another $500 to get away from the Coast Guard,
DEA, Coast Guard, no, ATF. They're ATF because they're smuggling guns. So yeah, so to lose the cops. So this guy is paying $1,500 to go to a rave. I'm sorry. I don't think I've paid more than $200 for a concert ticket. So I don't know what pussy is on this island that costs $1,500. I don't listen, man. I'm not a pussy snob.
No pussy's that worth that much.
It's not. I'm sorry. Anyway, basically, it's just a group of people go to the island. Zombies are on the island. Kill all the people that are there. The group is then outfitted with the German guy who's smuggling guns and the ATF officer that finds them there, and they rally together to survive the night. It's pretty lazy. I mean, there really is no story. It's just shooting and naked and yeah.
Here's a little trivia for you.
Okay.
It was the last film to use the turntable technique for the 360 shots. The risk of actors being hurt or killed by the fast-moving camera was too high, and that's why this is the last film. Big surprise that Uwe Boll was the last person to endanger his actors with a camera technique. There's a lot to say about this film.
Sure.
We could talk about the transitions.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure that's the part of the director's cut because I don't think that was in the theatrical
release.
Oh,
really? That's the director's cut. That was added after. Okay.
So
fuck me.
In the middle of scenes, like to transition into scenes, they will play footage from the actual game of House of the Dead, where it's just zombies getting shot with light sources, and then they do like this color effect to blend it. Like the screen goes red or green. That. Okay, sorry, but I'm just saying it like they do like the reverse. What is that called when you swap the color, like invert the color?
Oh yeah, I know.
And so they turn it like almost like black and white or whatever, and then it goes like and then goes to the next scene, and you're just like, why is this jarring? Like
unbelievably jarring. Takes you completely out. Yeah. It's nowhere near looking realistic.
No, and it's just like, so here's footage of the game. Now it's spliced into the movie. It's oh my god. But why? Why would you do that? Oh, because the movie's called House of the Dead. And
I was thinking there was some sort of contract.
But by
that
Sega,
was my idea.
Sega,
by
Sega like, we will only pay to make this movie.
We need at least 1 minute of actual video game footage because it's going to look badass.
Why can't you just have one of the characters playing the game in the opening sequence in the bar before they go to the island? Just have him play the game. Yeah, have the movie open up with like it shows the screen, bang, 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 we're in the game, and then it pans out.
They like find somebody, anywhere playing the game in an arcade or something like that.
Clever product placement, but that's not. Clever is not a word in Uwebol's dictionary.
There's nothing clever.
What is this word? I don't know this word. I am German. That's not German accent.
German. I am German. There's not a single thing that's clever about this film. It is the definition of bad. I don't even know how to describe some of the laziness. For $12 million, by the way. How about the scene where the German captain of the ship is shooting at things in the water, and they repeatedly use the same actor that is in makeup over and over and over again.
You could argue they use the same makeup on multiple actors, but I'm pretty sure.
But why would you?
But right.
Why wouldn't you just use the same actor?
One actor and cut them from different angles.
No, they're not gonna. Yeah, they're not putting different actors in that same makeup. No way. And they had other makeup.
Yeah,
they had other costumes because they did it later when they showed them fighting them off right in front of the house.
Yeah.
Oh my god, everything about this film. It's just. The acting is
it's I've seen pornos with better acting.
It's so bad, and this like what people are wearing and their reasoning for doing things. It's like trying to be cute sometimes, but it's just dumb.
Yeah,
and you're supposed to. I don't know. It's the guy gets his face burned later on, or whatever.
Oh, that's
gets
right.
The acid on his face
because zombies have acid blood now.
Just the one.
Just the one.
Just the one has acid blood.
The one xenomorph zombie.
And it gets all over his face. By the way,
yeah.
If you remember the shot, it covers his face, and then he gets burned on one of his cheeks.
Yeah,
like it eats away at one of his cheeks. Then he just patches, and then they have this sweet little scene later where he's talking to a girl and he's like, I'm a monster and
nobody will fuck me.
I may as well just kill myself and die because nobody's ever gonna love this face. And you're like, it's just your cheek, man.
Yeah.
And she's just like, that's not true. And then they kiss and it's so bad. So the 360 camera. How long do you think that scene was?
Okay, so
10 minutes?
There's basically a not penultimate, that's not the word I'm looking for, but basically like this big fight sequence that happens halfway through the movie, maybe 3/4.
It's towards the end. Yeah, I'd say it's towards the end.
3/4. Anyway, so this big scene where they arm up with all the gun runner guns and they go, but yeah, by the way, all of these people have military training and know how to fire weapons.
Yeah, not a single one of these people has probably shot a gun in their life.
Ever.
The characters, except for the German boat captain and the ATF lady.
Right. who are getting headshots left and right. Like
they never run out of ammo, by the way.
No. It's basically a video game. I
still have some bullets, but I'm saving them to save myself.
Yeah, what did that mean?
I read it two different ways. Either he's going to fight off guys for himself, or he's going to kill himself with the bullets.
Yeah.
Which I think that was before his cute little scene with the girl. So I guess he meant that he was going to shoot himself.
I think it's
but
fun.
At first, I thought he was
like, "Fuck you guys! I'm gonna run away and defend myself."
He's like, "I'm not fucking shooting anybody. Fuck you guys."
Yeah. Anyway, so the scene where all the characters, all the main characters that are left alive, they go and confront the zombies at this house in the middle of this island, this old like church essentially. And the scene is what? It feels like it goes on forever.
I mean, okay, so let's take into account each one of those 360 shots. So it's like this character. So they're trying to go video game here, right? That's what that shot was.
Yes.
It was like, choose your character. And every time they had somebody, holding a gun and taking shots, they would do this 360.
It's almost like a
freeze frame shot. And that's the camera that we're talking about that's like really bad and hurts actors and kills them.
So what is the idea? Is it literally is a camera on a turnstile?
Yes, a turntable.
A turntable. It's like a merry-go-round. You put the big giant camera on it.
I guess, and maybe the concern is that the camera flies off and kills the.
I thought it was going to be blanks, like the people shooting at the camera. I figured that would be the dangerous part because they're literally like
talking
shooting
about
into the
They're
camera.
talking about the actors.
They're talking about the
They're
actors.
saying because it hurts and kills actors. So I don't know what it is about the camera other than it flying off the turntable and hitting them. But you can't imagine that these things going that fast unless it has to go
a certain speed in order for the footage to be slowed down.
Yeah, to capture everything.
It makes sense.
If the frame rate is large enough. Plus, they might have to go around a bunch of times too, not just once, obviously, to properly capture every frame. But
so is the actor standing still, or are they on the turntable with them? Like in the middle
I think that they're on it with it.
Without it turn. So there's a middle stationary
I think
part.
that they're on it. I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll look it up
It'd
later.
be great to look at the behind the scenes
very
footage.
Interested. I don't want to watch it.
I don't want to spend any more time
give any more other than discussing it.
So they go to shoot up all the zombies, and they're all in a row, like line up, like here's our action poses.
Yeah,
and they're all
of course
shooting
the
their
music's
guns.
playing loud.
Each character gets like their own sequence of fighting the zombie, shooting, punching, whatever.
At least. Okay, so at this point, how many characters are we talking about?
So we got German Captain, ATF Girl. We've got main guy, Liberty, the Asian gal in the go-go boots and the leotard that's an American flag.
That's right.
You've got the hot chick, the black chick. Who else?
Definitely another guy.
The Hispanic, the guy with the long hair.
The friend is dead at this point.
The other white friend.
The other whitey friend is dead.
And the white girl's dead too.
That's probably it.
So there's seven characters essentially. Every character gets their own
30 seconds
to a minute.
30 seconds, 45 seconds of this montage, whatever you want to call it. So if that's 7, let's say they're 45 seconds a piece, you're looking at over 5 minutes just dedicated to those shots. And there was way more in that scene other than just those shots.
Sure, there's the 360s, there's the wide establishing shots, there's the...
It seems like it goes on forever.
Yeah, and there's like unlimited zombies. It doesn't seem like they're making any ground. And listen, like the distance from like the tree line from where they enter to the house, it can't be more than 200 feet.
Well, you completely lose track. As the viewer, you lose track of where the hell anybody even is.
The
180 the 180 rule is violated.
No, they burn it, they bury it,
they pee on it with AIDS.
Yeah.
It's bad. And there's just
and by the way, if you're mad at me by describing the characters as the hot chick, the black chick, the Asian girl, Liberty, that's all their characters are because there is no characters written.
Yeah, that's how they're
treated like they're
sure
just
they got diversity, but
archetype. Like, we got to fill this slot, so this is this character. I don't even remember their names because they didn't even develop them.
Remember when that one dude was going to pee inside the tent because he really needed to go to the bathroom?
Oh yeah, so like they're gonna fuck, and he's like, "Oh, I really gotta pee," and then he's like, "Don't you?" And the woman's like, "Don't pee in here." And he's like, "Where am I gonna pee?"
Starts to unzip himself in the tent when that like this is, by the way, this is where the rave is. It's all outside except for this little tent, and he's like gonna piss in the tent, and she's like, "What the hell are you doing? Get out of here!" So then he goes outside. And instead of just peeing on the ground or peeing in the woods, he goes to a goddamn porta potty. And then apparently he gets flipped over at some point. And then when he finally gets out, he's got shit all over his fucking dress shirt. Yeah. That, of course, is comically splattered like somebody took a sponge of brown paint and just went bop, 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 bop. Instead of like smeared like a normal thing would be. First of all, that's not how porta potties work, but whatever.
It would be blue liquid.
Yeah, or just that there just wouldn't be turds. He'd be covered in
sludge.
In sludge and shit.
Also, who knocked over the porta potty? Did he just like was like an imbecile zombies, and he fell over?
Nah, I think it was zombies.
Okay.
But the dress shirt, right? It's a fucking dress shirt. The dude doesn't take it off.
He has an undershirt.
He's got a fucking white undershirt underneath it, and he keeps the shit shirt on because it's funny, guys. It's fucking hilarious that he
poop.
He's got shit all over his shirt, man.
The Americans, they love poop and tits, right?
And then him and the ATF woman run off. So this is all before the big old explosive scene they were talking about with the 360 shots, and they run off, and he goes and dies. It's. None of this stuff makes any sense. The decisions don't make any sense. Like you said, like that they all know how to shoot a goddamn gun to begin with is crazy. These aren't just regular guns.
Some of the people are shooting like
Desert Eagles.
Two-handed Desert Eagles. Like two of them. Oh no, they're good. The one guy's holding his
shatter my wrists.
Yeah, his like scorpion sideways. I'm like, that's an automatic pistol.
Oh, it was more like diagonal.
Oh, excuse me, gangster
because it's
style.
More badass. Right. It's like
gangsta
the
style.
whole point is that they're trying to get people to go play the game, Harry. And if they play the game, they feel like they can hold it diagonally, except for that giant thick black cord that makes it like your arm starts to hurt after a while because you're like holding this thing up, and that cord weighs heavier than anything else. It's a mess. I've never seen an Uwe. Is that how you say it?
Uwe
Boll movie before. So this is my first experience. And it's very obvious why he doesn't get work anymore. It's just, it was an hour and a half, right?
Sure.
Hour and a half, maybe a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And the whole time you're just sitting there going, why? Why does this thing exist?
It's lazy. And to be honest, a little background on Uwe Boll, he's been proven to use his movies like they're so bad that when he knows that they're going to be flops, that he invests insurance that he knows that they're going to be flops so he can make money off them, which, if you remember, is the plot of The Producers with Gene Wilder and Mel Brooks. So he actually he hopes that his movies do so shitty that he can make money off of them. And then it finally got to the point where studios weren't giving him any money, so he was kickstarting his movies because he actually had a fan base for whatever reason. And then...
But he didn't actually get...
I don't think he got them funded.
I think that's when he gave up, I thought, was when the Kickstarter stuff didn't work. And he couldn't take everybody picking on him on the internet.
Yeah, and he's famous for actually fist fighting his critics in an actual boxing match that happened.
Critics, quote unquote, as in people that
are just trying to like fuck with them,
have their own internet site where they're making reviews, because no real critic that has a good following and is a professional would actually go out there and do that.
Right.
It's critics that want attention.
Oh, by the way, Uwe Boll, go fuck yourself. So
yeah,
there it is. We're add us to the list of people to fight us. Oh no, we're gonna get shut down.
Well, he's
I wish I knew the German translation. Scheiße is shit, so I don't know anything else. But anyway,
Scheiße on you.
Yeah,
no, that's not good.
Anyway, it's just like it's even more than Blair Witch 2 was a cash grab. This is literally feels like just fuck it. People will see it. There's boobs and zombies.
It felt like a big. At least I could argue that the Blair Witch Project 2. I'm sorry, Book of Shadows, Blair Witch Project 2, at least was trying.
Sure.
it was a really, really poor attempt, but it felt like they were trying to make something.
You could argue that there's a story and there's characters. This movie has none of that.
This is clearly a big middle finger to everybody that watched it.
Mm-hmm.
And we've told you about the big action sequence. It's not interesting. It just, the whole time you're sitting there watching it going, like, I remember the first time that they did the turntable shot, I was going, okay,
it's kind of cool.
That's kind of neat. And then they did it
26
more times at least with each character. You go, oh, they're doing this with every single character. Oh, Liberty has a shotgun in her fucking hand, and then all of a sudden she has a pistol in her hand, and then all of a sudden she's unarmed, and then all of a sudden she has pistols in her hand.
It's clear
again.
that the 360s
What the hell is this editing?
were done on a separate day of shooting.
Oh yeah.
So here,
did she have? Oh, am I left-handed or right-handed? I don't remember.
Fuck it, doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but you know what would be really interesting if they cut it all together, all the 360s. Every time it changed a little bit of a degree, was a different character. Like,
nah, I ain't gonna do that.
Combine them all.
That takes creativity.
Sure, but the shot's the same. It's all static. You can combine it all. That solves the problem. You can show all 7 characters at the same time.
Okay, so I have to defend.
Okay, yes,
film,
please
right?
defend this movie.
Okay.
For me.
So, first of all, how many good video game movies are there really?
There's quite a few.
Okay, can you name some for me?
Resident Evil 1.
Okay,
2,
I
3.
said good.
Good.
I did not say entertaining. I said good.
Good.
Because I'm entertained by the Resident Evil first one too, but that doesn't mean it's a good movie.
Doom with The Rock
No.
and Carl Urban.
Wrong. Absolutely wrong.
What other video game movies are there? Sonic? I heard Sonic's not terrible.
Is it out?
Yeah, it's already
come out. I
It did come
forgot.
out.
I
It
have
was
not
released
seen that.
online. Or no, it hit theaters before Corona.
Yeah.
Detective Pikachu. I heard that was good.
Is that really a video game movie though?
They're Pokemon characters.
I get it.
Game.
It's based off of Pokemon. Anyway, World of Warcraft, not good either.
It's just called Warcraft because it's based off Warcraft.
I apologize. Warcraft. Fuck off.
What else is there? There's a lot of video
I
game
think there
movies.
actually is one that's
Blood
out there
Rain,
that's-
which Uwe Boll also did.
No, let's not talk about that. I do actually think there's one or two. I know that like The Witcher is a really good show, especially based off of a video game, but it's also based off of
It's
books,
a book,
but,
right? Or book series.
So listen. He tried his best. Uwe Boll tried his best. He truly captured the American Pie of video games. Really, he took all these characters and how they're struggling with banging each other and wanting to go to a rave and just have sex with one another. And like the main character is just really struggling. He tries to get with both the other chicks that aren't with the other guy. And like he just gets shut down. You feel so bad for him when it happens. And then there's a German U-boat captain on top of a regular one.
Okay, just because he's German doesn't mean he's a Nazi.
And then they have this scene where the ATF lady is on a boat that they have this B-roll footage of her on this boat, but you don't see her, and you don't see her little commanding little assistant or whatever, but you for sure hear her.
That's just effective filmmaking. Why shoot it when we
Brilliant.
can just
save money?
Save
dude.
money.
It's she pockets it.
Yeah.
You can pocket the money for that shot. You just do it, and all the audio is exactly like if you were standing right here underneath a boom mic. But that's not important. It's important that he established that the ATF was still after him. He goes, "No, don't you dare leave this port, Captain Kirk." His name is Captain Kirk, by the way.
I forgot about his name.
No jokes about Captain Kirk. I will kill you.
He stabs a knife at you.
Yeah. He stabs knife right next to him. I mean, like, that made me feel tense, man. Like, I felt like that's a great way to start
Is this
film.
the point of this exercise to see who's the better actor?
It's sarcasm. Like, the whole point of the exercise is that we need to be as sarcastic about these things as possible.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, you got all that. You've got the German, you've got the Asian, you've got the black chick, you've got, of course, the main characters are two white dudes. And then
It's 2003.
You have clown makeup girl and
Forgot. You have the whore.
oh man, remember that time I paused the movie because you were into the restroom or something like that, and I backed it up a few frames so you could just see how beautiful her smile really was. And then, like I think that he encompassed like sex the way it should be. Like, remember when they were like all over each other? And I was like, yeah, that's how foreplay works, and that's how you really get a woman going, is by, I don't know, holding her at the waist and then kissing the back. I don't know. Anyway, it's just a technique I need to try out because I think it'll definitely play. It'll play.
Yeah. Here's how it'll play. Police?
Yeah, no, dude, those 360 shots, you don't just use one.
You use all
of them. 10. Why would you only do one? You rented the damn thing for 3 days. You use it 3 times every single day. And it's amazing, dude. It really is. And that makeup for those zombies, quote unquote, I like that it changed.
Sure.
It didn't make any sense that they look different. And there was no real backstory to any of this other than it looked like the house was a millennia old. And then he's corrected. I'm not going to mention
that Harry didn't understand the difference between decade, millennia, and century.
No, we're not going to talk about that.
Decade is 10, century is 100, millennia is 1,000.
Yes.
Did I get it right? Thank you. Okay, I'm not an idiot.
You got it now.
Oh, okay.
Proud of you. You learned something.
Hey, the movie taught me something. There you go.
I taught you something. The movie didn't teach you shit.
Yeah, that's true.
And so he comes up and he goes, that house looks like it's a millennia old. And she goes, you mean centuries. What? You don't fucking know how old that house is. I meant thousands of years.
She knows what topography means.
The
study of maps, right?
The big word. Yeah. That didn't have to do with house.
No.
It didn't have to do with how old something is.
She's smart and sexy.
That's right. We were establishing that this character was smart because she knows what topography is. Is that what is it?
Topographical.
I can't even pronounce it. Alicia, I don't remember this character's name, but Alicia says, guys, check out this book. Looks pretty old. Maybe it'll help us. I mean, there's a great bad guy.
Right.
He used to be a priest.
Spanish priest from like the 1800s.
And he's just chained up. And then he convinces the idiot captain to come closer just by asking him to come closer. And then he chokes him out. And he's evil. He's evil, and he has stitches all across his face.
Yes, because he was looking...
wearing people's flesh.
Right, because he was looking to achieve immortality.
Yes. So the whole point is that all these people are the dead people that he's taken the flesh from? I don't think they established that. So. Because it felt like the people that he took the flesh from would actually die.
Yes. He's the boss. He's the boss. The character you got to defeat at the end of the game.
And the girl dies at the end. Oh no, she gets stabbed. I don't think she dies.
He uses the zombie blood to bring her back.
Oh yeah, but they didn't show that.
No.
You're just supposed to assume they did that.
From the voiceover dialogue at the end.
Oh yeah, dude. We didn't even talk about that sweet editing at the beginning when they were introducing all 5 of the characters and all the different relationships between the 5, and that they would show them, that they'd freeze frame and go to gray scale.
Oh, like the opening of a Guy Ritchie movie, but terrible.
Yeah, but it's like, oh yeah, man, she wants to get with me, but I'm just not interested. Unfreeze. Okay, this is my best buddy Brian. He's been dating Cynthia for 5 years. She wants to get married, but he kind of still wants to live the bachelor life a little bit. I think he's kind of a player, but that's just me. Unfreeze.
Yeah, that's
fucking
accurate.
Editing, dude. I mean, that right there, I swear Uwe Boll was in that editing room going, no, it needs to go this way.
No, it needs to be like this.
I need the video game clips.
The video game.
I'm not doing it right.
Yeah, I don't know how do you pronounce
insult any
WZs? Yeah. Sorry, German people.
Yes, apologize. Okay. Yeah, so that was that's how we're gonna do that. You gotta be sarcastic, Harry.
Okay.
Because there's nothing good about the goddamn film.
I like that they used blanks. They couldn't really do CGI back then, so it was real gunfire.
So it wasn't a choice.
It was more dangerous that way. Any time to put the actors in most danger, that's the makes the movie for me.
Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna do like a lightning round of all the other films that both of us watched this week, and you'll hear some overlap because Harry and I have watched some of the films together, whereas some of the films that I've watched he has not watched, and vice versa. So we're gonna start off with 3 minutes. You have 3 minutes to talk about every film, not each film,
right?
Every film that you watched that wasn't these two this week. Give us a breakdown, how you felt about it. Go ahead, start.
Oh, okay, real quick. So we watched Evil Dead 2. That was the first time Andrew had seen it. Still holds up. I think it's the third time I've seen it. Great movie. If you haven't seen it, go see it. Great mix of horror and comedy. The effects still hold up, and Sam Raimi at his best. Then we watched the remake of Evil Dead, just titled Evil Dead from 2012. Doesn't hold up. When I watched it for the first time, the gore is not really great anymore. The practicals are okay, but that's mostly what the movie's about. The story and the acting is terrible. So if you haven't seen it, maybe see it if you're a fan of Evil Dead, whatever. We watched The Open House, Netflix original, with the guy from 13 Reasons Why. One of the worst movies that we've seen. The definition of boring and the worst ending. It's a waste of time. Just read the IMDb user reviews. It's hilarious. But the movie is like an anti-movie. It's like literally like, oh, we have this guy on contract and we have this house. Let's film the movie.
That's exactly how I felt. The contract.
Yeah, just terrible. I watched The Sandcastle. It's another Netflix original with Nicholas Hoult and Logan Marshall Green. It's about the Iraq War. Long and boring. I stopped watching after the hour and a half mark. Watch The Hurt Locker or Jarhead. Those are the best movies about the Iraq War. They're different movies, different subject matters, but they're both really good. The Mouse we both watched. It's a what country is that? Bulgarian?
She was Bolivian.
No, not Bolivian.
She was.
No. Bolivia's in South America.
Nope, I'm an idiot. Don't. Cut the video.
Belarus? No.
Bosnia.
So it was a Bosnian-German film.
I did not have to look that
about the traumas of the Bosnian War. It's kind of a thriller. It's not really a horror film. I thought it was really good. I liked it. The ending's a little but for the most part, it's pretty good. It's on Netflix if you want to watch it. Mm-hmm. Really good use of what's it called? Dream sequences and the violence and the effects of the Bosnian conflict. I watched Lockout with Guy Pearce. It's a movie based on an original Luc Besson thought, basically.
Sure.
One of the worst CGI effects I've ever seen in a movie. So if you want to see that, watch the first 10 minutes of the movie and then just get rid of it, throw it in the garbage. It's a terrible movie. It's not good. Guy Pearce, God bless him, but it was just a paycheck. Tommyknockers we both watched is a Stephen King miniseries from 1993. Boring and stupid. Apparently the book is much better, but it's one of the worst adaptations of Stephen King stuff. It's ABC. It was 3 years after the It miniseries, and that even has some redeeming values. But Tommyknockers, waste of time. And I also watched Four Lions, which is a satire comedy film from the mid 2000, maybe 2010 or so, with Riz Ahmed and Karen Novak from What We Do in the Shadows. Kind of a fun black comedy about suicide bombers. I don't know. It's worth a watch. It's not the best thing I've ever seen, but I enjoyed it. I think those are all of them.
Okay. Well, I'm going to cover some of the same things. I actually watched Melancholia. Ooh. And after some discussion with someone else that I watched it with, I was going to give it like a 4 out of 5. And after talking to her, it was, she kind of convinced me it was like a 5 out of 5 for me.
Yeah.
Like, I do think that it's incredibly well crafted, covering mental illness essentially of a family and how it's kind of passed down from a parent, and just a whole different take on how you can't really escape it. And I could talk about it for a really long time if I wanted to, but I was surprised how much I really enjoyed it, and Kirsten Dunst is really good in it. Then I watched The Mouse, obviously, with Harry. Like he said, I thought it was gritty. Kind of difficult to watch sometimes, and it just shows you the horror of war and what it can do to somebody even years after. All she's doing is returning to the area that around the area that she lived in to see her brother and her father's remains buried, I believe. They found them finally, like 20 years later. I mean, it's not 20 years, but it's pretty long, and just how much she's affected by it, and then the events that are caused, and how she uses almost like a what would you call that, a legend or a myth to help her
a guardian angel,
get
but it's
the
almost like a demon.
essentially.
I didn't even mention the camera work is fucking phenomenal.
It's great. I really love it when she hits the ground the first time, and
a lot of not POV, but a lot of like close-ups shots.
Tons of close-ups.
A lot of long takes, a lot of uninterrupted long takes.
And a lot of one last thing, a lot of the times they'll like do a shot where you kind of it's so close up to the character that you're supposed to be like watching, that the other person is like blocking a certain amount of the frame, and it kind of causes this tension because you don't know if something's going to come out from behind him, or if that guy moves, you're going to see something standing there or something like that. So they knew what they were doing with their tension and their pacing and stuff. The open house, as Harry said, it's awful. It's I don't know what else to say other. This is the second time I watched it. He watched it for the first time. It's my second time. It's worse the second time around somehow. I didn't think that was possible. Once again, it's just like House of the Dead. It feels like a middle finger. It feels like fuck it, our audience doesn't give a shit. We'll make money. They'll stream on Netflix. Who cares? He's under contract. Who gives a shit? It's not anything simple. Open houses, they're scary. Got it? You let people into your house. Okay. The Fountain. Darren Aronofsky. I love it. I've loved it since it came out. This time around, I was watching on 240p on YouTube, and I still really enjoy it. Maybe it just kind of hits home to me specifically. I don't know why, but there's something about the feel. I just like the way they build the atmosphere of the movie, and that it feels like a fantasy, but it's also raw. Like Hugh Jackman's amazing in it, and Rachel Weisz is really good. There's a lot. Once again, I could go into it like I could Melancholia, but it's just very good. Evil Dead 2, like Harry said, my first time watching it, really enjoyed it. Funny. Really great practical effects. I've seen Army of Darkness, but I should rewatch it again. I'll go on. We watched the Evil Dead remake. I don't know if you talked about that one.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. It shows you how much I pay attention to what's being said.
Makes you feel good inside.
I didn't. It was whatever. It was fine.
Yeah.
It was fine. Some of the stuff is really neat. You sit there and you wonder how they did it. Like the chainsaw at the end on the head. You really like. It's great. But it's just too dark for me, too gory just to be gory.
Yep.
And the actors were not very good for something that was taking itself pretty seriously, considering that Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 don't take themselves all that seriously.
Well, the first one did. The second one doesn't really.
Yeah, okay. So,
but that's the problem. Pick one. Pick if you're going to be serious, or pick if you're going to be goofy and over the top. But the problem is the movie was obviously meant for a more, darker audience, with the new remake. But
My Neighbor Totoro I watched the other day. I hadn't seen that one yet. It's awesome. It's not his best, I would say. It's a little bit short, and it's not. Yeah, it's Miyazaki. It doesn't cover quite as much as I wanted it to, because I thought the whole point was that Totoro was kind of like the embodiment of where children kind of cope with their mother being sick. Like their dad is there, but their mother is... They don't really say what's wrong with her, but it's bad enough that she's been in the hospital for weeks or months or whatever. So I assume it was cancer of some sort, but the ending's very happy, and it doesn't really say what she had and stuff like that. But that's okay. It's cute. I'll go with that. It's cute. And then, as you said, we watched the Tommy knockers today, and goddamn, what a I'm not usually an advocate of the 1.5 times speed, but that thing needed,
that's
that
right.
needed,
We
that
fast
needed
forwarded.
it. We should do that more often.
Yes.
Although I don't think you can exactly do it on Netflix or anything like that. But
right, but 3 hours a miniseries is not worth for the
that
subject
not
matter.
good.
No,
it's not even funny bad. It's just bad.
Yeah,
and it's boring. I mean, the whole thing is just boring, and the whole time you're sitting there going like, "What the hell is this 3 hours for?"
Right.
It makes no sense.
No, it's dumb. It's like if Twin Peaks had no budget, no writing, and the effects were designed on a movie maker from 1998, or no, earlier, because the
93
is when it premiered. Yeah, ABC. God, they needed a lot of programming back then. Apparently,
I guess they were more TV movie stuff than
NBC
or anything like that. But we're probably going to watch The Langoliers.
I can't wait. I want to watch that so bad.
Because I saw it back in the day on TV, not when it premiered, but later on.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember thinking about how bad it was. And so that'll give us something to talk about. But we don't have any movies picked out for next week. We're kind of just going with what we watch and what we think is the worst, or the things that we can cover the longest.
I found a bucket of old DVDs.
I sure did.
And we're just digging them out and going through them. So
we're just kind of picking and choosing. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I like this format a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, what are we clocking in under time, or are we over time?
No, we're still at an hour 15.
Okay, well, it's better than...
It's 15 minutes faster than last time.
No, that's good.
Yeah, and we could probably cut it a little bit. But
yeah, we just need to time ourselves a little bit more.
Either way, thanks for tuning in. Got anything, Harry?
Thank you so much. Bye.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Wear a mask.
Yeah, don't be an asshole.
Don't be an asshole. Wear a mask.
I don't know. Yeah.
That's it. All right. See you guys.
Bye-bye.